So take the example of thinking that you're on a date and you think you're vibing really hard with this person, but you end up kind of figuring out that they weren't vibing you as much, or even told you that they just didn't want to continue seeing each other in the same way because the spark just wasn't there or something. And if you get upset or offended by that, then that definitely means that there's some type of ego attaching going on there, because if you weren't attached to the situation, then you would just look at it and say, oh, okay. I mean, obviously, we just weren't vibing in a connection way that this other person preferred. That's fine. Yeah, I hope that they spark that connection with someone soon or whatever. And then you just go on and then think the same for yourself. It's not like there's a balance there too, though. And I think this is where it gets confused, is because you don't want to be attached to ego with the situation, but you also don't want to ignore all the feedback that was given to you from that. So you kind of have to make that judgment call for yourself on, was I acting in certain ways in which I feel like I could have presented myself in a more confident or witty or flirty type of manner that would have excited the conversation. So you could think about that for yourself, or you could think, oh, we just honestly didn't connect on that level. And yeah, it's true. The spark or the banter, it wasn't there. The interest didn't align. So that's kind of an example of how to, not be attached to the situation, but also to be aware enough to take from the situation in order to improve your reason on certain things and to gain better control on how you want to become in life. But you can do that without being attached with an ego, and that's really the key there to maintain happiness and to really just focus on creating yourself. Same thing with work and other areas of life. If you're too attached to your job, you rest a lot of your happiness within that. And I know it's hard not to do that since that's something that we do all the time. So I'm not saying to not have some level of attachment there. And a good way to kind of spread so that you do have a lower amount of attachment is to invest yourself in many different things and to value many different things and to understand and be aware of how you value them and the type of value that you want to create in life. So with me, instead of investing all of my eggs into work and having that being my primary thing I do in life, I also raise the standard for how I approach fitness, how I approach health, how I approach expressing myself, writing, making videos like this, my building deep connections with people, having valuable experiences with them that are meaningful. So just thinking about it that way and valuing them all in different ways so that you have your eggs spread out in multiple different outlets, that's going to help you not get tunnel visioned and be overly invested in one area, which is going to create some type of overly attached meaning in life, so that you're more just connected and spread out with everything. You've diversified your investments. There are many positive attachments in life. Most of the time, I kind of feel like it works with me when they're limited. So, for instance, my wife, that's a positive attachment. Anyone inside my family, anyone who I decide in my close circle of friends, that those are positive attachments in life. But it's also understanding how attached I want to be to each and every one of them and how many things I actually want to care about, so that I can still maintain a mostly being connected with them instead of attached. And it's interesting because that standard is obviously raised with people like my wife. Obviously, I'm very attached to my wife. She's my other half. We're a part of each other in the deepest way we could ever imagine. But I'm also very connected with her, so I'm not overly attached where it's in a needy sense. And then it's even more, with friends. I'm gonna be a lot less attached compared to just being connected. And I think it's good to have some level of attachment, because when you're attached, you're saying, like, we're a part of each other in that different way. And you are a part of each other when you're connected too, but it hits different. It's a different type of relationship. What about you? Are there areas in life where you feel like you're overly attached, or you're attached to too many things and you're attached too much for those things as well? So what's the balance there with you? Do you feel like this attachment causes you to become unnecessarily needy and more insecure and not as independent and interdependent, and a healthy balance within that? Or do you feel like you're too overly connected? You have no attachments, and do you feel like that's hindered your life experience in some way? Or maybe you're in the middle and you have that nice. Are you okay? Hanging out with my little guy. Or maybe you're in the middle, you're working to establish that happy balance between being connected and attached, and you really know which areas to be attached in and how to be attached with them and how much, so that you can optimize your happiness and just a healthy balance for how you live life and value things.